With all of the money coming in from marijuana sales in New Mexico, what would you spend that revenue on?
To re-legislate and also run absolute audits and all the people making the money off of it. I want to see how they did this. I heard they went behind closed doors and they figured out how to do this. One of them is trying to get me off the ballot. He's also putting me through a lot of, he's saying that we're smuggling dark money because we have billboards going up, and the Second Amendment is actually, the First Amendment of the people is being impacted. But this individual, we discovered, sat on the board with the MLG for marijuana. So did the lady they ran against me for a write-in candidate, also sat on that same board. And you're starting to see how corruption festers and where they're all connected, and I realized, wow, this is how they're doing it. That package of marijuana that was written for a very few to actually benefit from. I believe that marijuana in our society, for the young children before your frontal lobe is developed, you will be impacted. It stops them from working, and they get lazy and they get tired. That's why we're 50th in education. So we're going to get into the drug talk now. Now, our team has discovered how education is basically being impacted by the drug trade. They're using social media, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. And they have a profile, and they use emojis to actually tell you who's the drug dealer. There's a plug that plugs into the wall, that means that's the dealer. You got a cart, that means a shopping cart, you know, going to store. No, it's about actual carts for marijuana too. And so they tell you what dealer, what he's selling, what he has on hand. And then from there, even though there's no profile picture, no comments, no nothing, it's just an empty profile. Then you go check your TikTok or wherever, and you know it's the same dealer. And then eventually he ends up with a code, and that code goes to Telegram, which us patriots use because we want our freedom of speech. The drug dealer and the drug trades also have freedom of speech there. And there, when you type in the right numbers, the menu comes up, and it's all over New Mexico. It's in every county. They are pushing drugs through our school system at a very big rate. And the marijuana part of it, that's why they're not doing their schoolwork. They're not reading. They're not testing very well. It's because they're just there, and they're checking out. Not every day, but most of the time. And it's in schools. They use carts, the ones where you vape in the bathrooms where you can't smell it. It smells good. It smells like pina colada and strawberries and whatever. They're getting it done. And by the time they get home, they're off of it and they're normal again. We're watching this happen. It's surging through our school system. Now I think the whole marijuana, making it legal was a big no-no because it's impacting our workforce, it's impacting our children. Now the older division, I know that my father had cancer. Nothing helped him, he couldn't eat, he was ready to call it quits. And then it was my stepmom or somebody said, you know what, I know we're Christians, but try this because I don't want you to die right now. He got his appetite back and he was able to eat and consume, and he slowly made his way back and he had to use it. And that was from the plant-based part of it, and it wasn't the real heavy stuff. But he hated it, but then it helped him, and it saved his life. So I know there's a medical use for it. I'm not trying to completely wipe it out, because I also know that God puts things on this earth for us, and it's grown. But now it's engineered, and it's sped up. We need to make it so that anything that is sold here has to be done the old way. It takes time. They can't speed it up to make a quick dollar. It can't be infested with pesticides and chemicals that impact us, because it also messes with your mind. So that's what we're looking at with marijuana, is we need to figure out exactly what's happening, but it's here. We can't rewind it. That's what we got to understand, is a lot of these legislations, when we legislate, it impacts generational. And to undo it, we can try. But if I don't get a legislation in there, a House that's red, and also a Senate that's red, we can't do anything. Only thing I can work with is policy. So the policy will be, we will have to change our education, how it functions. How do we track the stuff? How do we stop it from entering our schools? And we have a plan for that. It's pretty interesting. And the marijuana, I wanted to see who it benefits, where they came from. Because most of these people that I'm naming, they're not even New Mexicans. They came here. So they're carpetbaggers, and I think someone called them bootlickers. We're going to figure exactly how much money they're making. And that's what I want, and it's going to be a long journey. But that's the best I can do right now. But through policy, we'll fight it. But I can give you knowledge, and we can shed light on it to begin with. But without the legislation in the Senate, we can't undo anything.
So the next one is, this one's my favorite. Why do you think the other candidates are not showing up to these very important debates that New Mexico citizens have invested so much time and effort to schedule?
Well, we can do the evaluation part of it. I don't think Michelle Lujan Grisham is really here to win. I've been evaluating her, we've been watching her in a political, I guess, you just clear your mind from the emotional part of it. You think about what she's been doing. Joe Biden came here. I don't know if you guys remember that when he flew in, came into Albuquerque, shut all the streets down and upset the whole place because nobody really wanted him here. But there was pictures of him and her, they're very intimate. He was riding with her. And I actually made a post and it was inadvertently, I got scared because I thought he was in the car with a child, but it was actually MLG. And I know, it's her, so I don't know what they're doing. But at the airport, he was giving her a hug and all kinds of stuff, and it was very close. Like they weren't doing business. It was something else, and more like promises. What I believe is that she's done with New Mexico. She can't even show her face anywhere without getting cussed out. I think she's leaving. I think she's already made negotiations because she had her wedding in DC. She's very infiltrated into DC. She did everything Gavin Newsom did, and we're completely different states. Gavin Newsom could have, ate Make America Great hat, and she would have ate it too, because she did everything he did. Nothing made sense, and we were not California. We were New Mexico. 6 feet, and this crazy stuff was just. There's not enough of us in this population. There was so much distance between us to begin with. So with her, I think she's going to hand it off to him. I sincerely believe it's two heads of the same snake. I think Mark Ronchetti is going to be installed the same way he won that pre-convention. I saw it happening. I watched how they worked and how they operated. That's when I knew if I didn't do anything and outmaneuver them, my campaign would have ended on that stage. Because Steve Pierce is not for me. He does not like me because I told him, you cannot make me your token Indian. I will not do what you want me to do. I am a freedom fighter. I am a free woman. And so when I did this, and I watched them, because Ronchetti came in October, we were on the ground, all of us candidates. We were running hard campaigns. We were getting out there. You had Block, Dow, Zanetti, Ethel, and myself, and then we were doing it. And all of a sudden, in late October, Ronchetti shows up. And he doesn't even break a sweat. We were bumping into each other, collecting signatures all over the state. We saw Dow people, we saw Ethel's people. We were all gunning for the same voter, trying to get their signature first. We never saw one Ronchetti person out there getting signatures. Maybe his wife once in a while. But for him to pull that many, it makes you question, where did he get those signatures from? Because they walked in there and they weren't even sweating it. When they made the pre-convention, he had the worst speech. It was so cocky. He said, I don't know, give your votes to them. I have enough signatures. That is the markers you have to watch. I think he's going to be installed like a toilet, and I keep saying this, into the roundhouse. He is the new one that they're going to be able to control. That's why they won't come here, because he's really good at teleprompters. He'll memorize his speeches, but he cannot do these questions like this. He can't come out because he doesn't have a foundation. He's not from New Mexico. He's from Vermont. He doesn't know how to answer these questions, cattle questions. He drove an electric truck to the parade in Capitan, for crying out loud. He doesn't understand us as a Navajo woman to debate me, to ask him questions. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? How am I going to raise my family in an economy that's crashing? And your 7-point plan is retarded. How are we going to do this? Because I can't put my life in your 7-point plan, because it doesn't work. They won't come here because I'm real, because I will stand there toe to toe, because I fear no man and no woman, because I walk with God. That's why they don't show up. In KOAT 7, the debate they have on there every time, they want me to be vaccinated for me to take the stage. No. They're going to push me out, and they're going to make sure that I will not speak my mind. That's where they'll show up. Or it's going to be some ugly little Zoom. That's what they're going to do, and it's going to be really easy questions where the people can't decide. But this debate here, the ones I've been on, it's been great. These questions are hard. And I love it, because you know what? It literally tests your intellect. Are you smart enough? Or are you just a puppet? That's why they don't come. It's because they're controlled. You'll see who their handlers are. You'll see who's looking at them and helping them. That's why they're not coming, because this is real. They live in a fantasy world that's on TV. It's media, it pumps it out to us. I'm not part of that process. So that's why they're not coming. Because I want to know questions. I want to know, how did cosmetology school go? Because I was in welding school when you were putting on makeup. Because that's where Ron Ketty was. And MLG. I want to know, how are you a woman of color? Explain to me that one. Where do you come from? I don't know enough about your family. I posted family pictures. You know my family, you know my daughters, you know my husband. You know my home. You've been in my kitchen. A lot of you watch my videos. You've been in my life. And that's the only thing I can offer is the actual truth. So that's why they won't come, is because they're not real. Okay.